Oh,
Good
okay.
morning. Good morning,
Good.
everybody. So we
Let me grab my
are,
phone.
yeah, grab your phone. Okay, we're live. I'm just adjusting a few things because when we go live, ooh, I have to change a few settings so that it becomes public. Well, we're going to talk about a great topic today that I think a lot of people go through, especially, well, I know I go through it. And can really, really mess us up, especially when we're trying to stay true to certain rhythms in our life, certain habits, eating, exercising, like reading, journaling, you name it, the rhythm that you get. And then what happens to it when there's like a disruption, right? Or you travel or you go to a conference. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
trying to
making
pull
it
up real.
public. I'm trying to make it
Thank you.
public. Okay. And so we want to talk about today. It's weight loss, weight gain, mental health while traveling, and how do we do this? How do we kind of make sure it aligns with what we're doing? Um, and we have some good stories because this. The reason we wanted to talk about it is because we just got back from a conference on Monday, this Monday of this week, and I'm like, what the hell? I gained 3 pounds. And
And I'm and I'm like, what the hell? I lost 2 pounds.
he lost 2 pounds. I gained three. But prior to that, we traveled for 2 months straight and I lost weight. Right. And so we want to talk about the difference and what are some tips and tricks that we use when traveling to stay consistent. Because we did spend all of June and all of July away from our home traveling, and we never felt better, mentally sound, physically fit, eating right. And we went on a 4-day conference and we felt like we got hit by a freaking bus.
Yeah.
But we noticed some things that we did differently. So we want to get into it. We're letting people come on. We have quite a few people joining. But if you're just joining us, this is our Saturday morning date live. We already did our morning date. And I'm actually at the Organize It office today. We're certifying 4 new trainers. So I brought them breakfast and I popped in. So I have to do the morning date from our new office here. And so what are the Chris, if you pulled up our notes, we can go ahead and get
Mm-hmm.
started.
All right. Okay. So notes. You said you dropped it in Slack.
No, I didn't. You texted them to me. I said I'd drop you the link
Oh.
in Slack for this.
Mm.
So anyways, I have them. So we're going to talk about, traveling. We traveled for 2 months versus 3 days, what the difference was and weight. Like, how did I come out feeling horrible um, and gaining weight versus traveling for 2 months straight and come back losing weight? How I walked, like it messed up my exercise routine. Um, you know, I missed workouts, Chris missed some workouts, and the food. And
Yeah.
so we want to talk about how it really affected us. Um, and some tips around what to do next time. So we can jump right in. So, during the 2 months we traveled, we were on carnivore diet. We had great. We were consistent with our exercising and working out. But the difference I saw between the 3 or 4 day conference and traveling for 2 months was control.
Yeah.
Was control. When we go to conferences, we can't necessarily control what time it starts, the food that's at the hotel or the food at the conference. What time, for me, when I was at this conference, I was on stage, I was a vendor, I was a coach, and I was a participant. And so it really messed up my rhythm. And so I paid for it. It took me 3 or 4 days to get back into it. Um, but it really messed up my rhythm because I didn't divert from my diet. But what I
Yeah.
noticed was I was stuck with the crappy food that the hotel had
Yeah. And when we say
versus
crappy, it's not what our body is used to eating. And it's, I guess, sometimes there's lower quality meat or lower quality whatever. Um, and so it hits us a lot harder when you are doing this health journey and you don't have all this stuff in your body, so you can feel it, see it more whenever you eat.
yeah, because if we always feel like crap, right? If we always feel icky, when you eat something that's not of good quality, you don't really notice it because you're just used to feeling like crap. And
Yeah.
then when your body is clean, like you've cleansed it out, and you're eating good high quality food, good high quality meat. Um, when you eat it, it hits you hard, very hard. And when you can't control the rhythms of like your exercise, because they have you over here, or it starts at 8:30, but you're used to like your exercise routine and your time to read and your time to journal. Um, and it was control. And I typically am very good about staying on track when I travel and even for work. But this conference, I totally fell off the wagon with the rhythms. I didn't divert from my eating, but I totally fell off the wagon.
The
Um,
walks were still there.
we still walked,
So
but instead of
little
walking
little
six
pieces of it.
miles, I only walked like one.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just interesting to see how hard it hit us. So when we fall, the whole point of this is like we're gonna fall off the wagon. Like you're gonna divert. You're gonna have days where you don't eat right or you don't exercise. You're gonna fall off the wagon. And that's what happened to us when we were in San Diego. We didn't stick to our rhythms and we really felt it. And it was harder to get back into them.
Hmm.
So, some
I mean,
tips for us. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say for a few days there, we were, usually we're up at like 5:36 every day on the dot, like just jump out of bed. But we were rolling out at like 7:38 out of bed, and we're like, all right, let's get a lap in, and that's it.
Well, no, I did my 6 miles since I've been back every day, except
Yeah.
for today. I had to cut it short because I had to come see the trainers. Um, so some tips when traveling, whether you're traveling for a conference, traveling for um, pleasure, Instacart. Instacart, I always Instacart shakes or protein to the hotel. So that way you're not kind of held hostage to the hotel snacks or the mini bar, because they're expensive, but also they're not great snacks. And then the other thing I didn't do, because I think this conference had me going 100 directions because I was wearing so many hats, was Uber Eats. Ubering eat meals from restaurants that you are familiar with or that has higher quality food. Because I'm not gonna lie, the food at the hotel made me so sick.
Yeah, and you
Um,
might think that having the carnivore, it's just the meat, and then it's all the same, and it's as long as you don't have seasoning. But there's subtle differences with the additives and things that they mix together, and it just kind of hits you harder.
oh, it hit me hard like a brick wall. Like I thought, yeah, um, it was not great. So, and I was kind of upset with myself. This is kind of holding yourself accountable, getting upset with yourself is like, why did I let this happen? Why did I do this? Why didn't I go to my regular ordering like um, Uber Eats and Instacart? I did let it happen. And I think I just got too caught up in the moment. I mean, how many of us get caught up in the moment? Right. So I just got caught up in the moment and really didn't have control of my time. And so that's gonna be the last time I let that happen, where I don't control my time. Um, because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth falling off the wagon when it comes to exercise, the quality time, the food. Um, at the end of the day, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, because it can stop. Oh, let's see here. Habit, progress, things that are normal to you. With that chunk of time, it's like falling off a ledge and you got to climb back up. It's even harder to like building muscle. It takes 3 times as much effort to gain muscle than it does to lose it. So if you're not careful, you can fall off pretty fast.
Oh yeah, I
I
fell
guess that's
fast
that's kind of the yeah.
and hard. Fast and hard, definitely. So I'm just logging on to see if we have anybody watching. But this is just the importance of consistency and rhythms. And we are going to divert. We are going to fall off. And that's okay. And we shouldn't beat ourselves up for it. We shouldn't get upset. But we just have to acknowledge, hey, like, why did this happen to me? Why did I like not get up early? Why did I eat that? Why did I not exercise today? And that's okay, because you can't do it every day for the rest of your life. I mean, you can try, but we are always going to divert. So to me, the lesson is seeing that I did it, acknowledging it, and saying, like, why did I do that? So that next time it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and I was just reviewing the notes, by the way. I had them up as you were talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did say that." But on the topic of just traveling and you know what, I saw a lot of people leading up to the conference who were asking around, what are some great travel snacks that I can bring? What are I'm bringing 6 sweaters and 5 shorts, trying to figure out how to plan because maybe they're not used to it. But again, it's all about like they're trying to figure out what's going to work, the routine, etc. I think for us, we've kind of baked that into our daily lives. It's just we never thought it through in terms of pre-planning. With every single time we fly out or head out, it's always an Instacart order. Every time we fly out, it's always something. And I want to take that back to there's a concept called uptime and downtime that I heard before, which is fantastic. And typically, this is more so for, let's say, customer success and
Sales.
sales. Yeah,
Mhm.
but this is where I wanted to kind of change it or transfer it over to the personal life. So uptime means basically it's the things that you can control. It's basically, you've heard this saying before. It's like you can only control yourself. You can't control other people or things like that. Downtime refers to, again, the unknowns, the things like I don't know what types of food they're going to have, or downtime could mean something like, okay, I'm going to go eat at the bar, but oh, by the way, there's 50 people sitting at the bar who already ordered food, and so I'm kind of at the mercy of that. So downtime is effectively things that you cannot control. Uptime are things that you can. And the way that I kind of circled this back to the personal is what Libby just described. Instacart, um, you know, forcing a routine consistently. That's all the uptime. What we could have done in a perfect world, and even not even in a perfect world, in a world where we actually prepared at the bare minimum, we could have had, again, traveling through the Uber. We could have started our Instacart order while going from airport to hotel. We could have had that all delivered to us as soon as we got there, and we could have had a full stocked fridge, all the
Well,
snacks you could think of.
typically Marilyn does that for me. And she was off. That's why.
She had a very very important personal
She
thing to
had a
take.
very
Yeah,
important personal event. So that's Marilyn is my assistant. She was off. So she orders like the Uber when I land, Instacart, groceries. And it was one of those things where I just, yeah, I don't know. Too many things happened. And it was like, I did not stay on my rhythm. And dude, maybe it's my age. I don't know. You can see my gray hair. Libby's attempting to not dye her hair to see what it looks like. Um, so maybe it's my age, but this time when I fell out of the rhythms, um, it was 10 times harder for me to get back into them. 10 times harder,
yeah,
which is crazy because that's how important it is to stay in the rhythm.
Yeah. Um, so I wanted to try to think about like what other things can you think of in terms of uptime? Like if you were to, let's say, prepare as much as you could for travel for a thing to stay on your routine, what other things would
So
you have done?
so I always travel with shakes, beef jerky. Sounds weird because carnivore. Before I was carnivore, I would travel with nuts, um, things that you can take through the airport. Having an Instacart uh, order because you can reorder orders and simply just reordering the same order because it saves it, um, which is convenient. And what we've done in the past, um, but sadly, I think I'm too dependent on other people. um, and, you know, I think to me, just doing those things like the shakes, not, I also gave into peer pressure with my friends.
Yeah.
People at the conference were like, "Hey, let's go eat." And I'm like, "Sure," even though I didn't want to eat there. Typically, I would have eaten before or Uber eated food so that I didn't have to eat specific food.
And so in the perfect
And
week,
yes, and then also it was a 3-hour time difference. So I think that's also what hit me the hardest. And when you're traveling, pay attention to these things. I was eating dinner at 9 o'clock at night because it was 6 o'clock in California.
well, yeah, even that, I think some days we even ate at 7 or 8 o'clock California time, which is, you know, it's 11, 12 Eastern. So your
And I
body
think
is just,
that's where the weight gain came from.
it just didn't process it the same way because your body shut down. It was expecting to
Go to
go into
sleep.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where the weight gain come from because, prior we've traveled a ton and managed to lose weight, practice a new way of eating while traveling, and come out really successfully. So, the whole moral of the story is don't let your surroundings break your rhythms.
Yeah.
Like, don't let
Con-
change break your rhythms.
control your uptime.
Control your uptime, and uptime are the things that you can control. Um, and again, that's a sales and marketing term, uptime or customer service term in business, but use it in your life. What are the uptime things that you can control? What are the
And
downtime things that you can't? So stop.
and
Don't even try.
yeah, and plan around the things that you can't control. So you're not dependent on waiting for that, but instead, you know that if something happens, you're not dependent on it, or you've already set something up so that it's convenient, and not a necessity. So if somebody just
Absolutely.
so happens to bring you a glass of champagne, 1 hour later, you're not burnt out or frustrated because you've already pre-planned for something else, like a snack in hand or something to keep you occupied. That's more of
Yes.
a third world problem, bougie example, but hey.
Yeah. So, on this carnivore journey that me and Chris are on, I asked him this morning, I said, "Hey, I've been practicing a version of it for like 3 years, kind of phasing into it. I asked Chris this morning, how long do you plan to eat this way?"
And yeah, so I I said, I don't plan to stop because I would have felt that even without the influence is just the way that I looked into things, researched with my mom and dad passing, from cancer, and just looking into it. I was eventually trending towards this way, anyways. And I don't want to say carnivore specifically, but I want to say, and I've said it before, that I was trending towards clean foods, or simple foods. So it just helped to kind of give me another avenue to research and look into, because again, when Libby started her journey, I was skeptical and I was like, well, that doesn't work for me. Let me research and figure out why, down to like the cellular mechanisms, all that fancy stuff. So that's, sorry, I got Yaya coming over here.
So for a long time. And so what are the things, hi. One of the things I have to say was probably one of the biggest differences that I've seen while on carnivore is the change in my skin. Um, the change in my skin has been so for any ladies out there who are starting to age into their mid and late 40s, my skin is completely different, even a different color, different texture, and oddly enough, just even the little bit of cellulite I had on my legs is gone, which was absolutely incredible. It's one of the, like I said, they call it the carnivore glow, the carnivore glow. And I have to say that is the most amazing side effect so far that I've experienced, besides feeling great and mental clarity and all that jazz.
Yeah, I know. Last night, we went out for a date night, and I'm like, wow, your skin is so soft. And you were like, your skin has always been so soft. But no, it was just seeing little changes just from the diet, which is really, really, I think it's really cool and really motivating to see those little changes. And then we were talking about it in the car as well, like, how's your mental clarity, or do you ever have like blurry moments or whatever? And I said, what did I say? So with the new diet, no, I'm honestly, I think I have a lot more clarity. It's just a matter of being overworked.
He's overworked.
Yeah, I wants to show us something real quick.
Mean. Yaya, what kind of diet are you on?
I'm on both carnivore and carnivore.
Okay, Yaya's on the carnivore.
Can you explain
and
what the
carnivore diet? She made
the carnivore. So the carnivore is when you eat just sweets and other stuff. The carnivore is when you just eat meat and other animal other animal stuff.
Product. So she is on the carnivore so that she can have sweets. And
which
the carnivore
consists of corn dogs, funnel cakes, little donut circles, all the good stuff.
And I want to tell her about my book. So this is my love book I made up. So this little hole you put on your wrist, and then you can carry it around and look inside.
Nice.
I also have some little things that you have on a phone.
Oh, and it says, I love you.
Here's a little play thing.
Nice.
Right here.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay, let me go ahead and bring it down.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Mommy.
Bye. She made me a love book. How sweet. But I have to say that's probably one of the biggest side effects was the outer change in your skin. Yes, there's weight loss. There's other things like mental clarity. But the change in your skin by far has been the most dramatic. That's why I was asking Chris, because we were talking about it. And I asked him this morning, how long do you plan to stay on this diet? This way of eating. I don't want to call it a diet. It's been really interesting to be on it. But I think for me, one of the hardest things is to travel on it.
Yeah.
Because I am now more sensitive to low quality products. Let's just call them that.
Yeah. Oh, it was, even in the airport, just getting from point A to point B, you have, in the middle of point A and point B, you still got to plan for that also. And that's that uptime. It's, we were struggling in the airport to try to find something that we could eat, because most of the places.
They didn't have a steak. They didn't have like a steak. And sadly, one of the things that I run into that I can't eat is like a hamburger because of the additives and the fillers in the meat is what we're talking about, like low quality.
And you actually have like almost like an allergic reaction. Your body just rejects it.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing traveling, I think we found a couple little things that worked really well. Number one is the Starbucks egg bites.
Egg bites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can find a Starbucks anywhere.
Yep. So that's part of the uptime when we're traveling is Starbucks egg bites. the other thing that we started to figure out was sounds funny, but the pickle chips, the sliced pickles inside of the little baggie, they also were helpful just for a little pick me up, some electrolytes and
The electrolytes
just
in them.
little things like that.
And no,
Because
they're not
again,
animal products. It's pickles, but it's the electrolytes in them.
yeah. So and it's hard because we can't even do jerky because most of it is just loaded with loaded with sugar, loaded with other additives and stuff. Because you're talking about I guess the traditional ones.
Yeah, it was funny because I was at a traveling and I was like, I'm gonna get some beef jerky, and I turned around and looked at the back of the bag, and it was like loaded with sugar. So once you start like eating this way, you really start to notice certain things. And poor Austin. Austin is an athlete. He eats high protein. He does eat vegetables and fruit because he has a nutritionist, and we don't push this on our kids. But he goes, Mom, I can't eat this way at school. All they do is feed us crap. He's like, what am I supposed to eat at school? And it never even makes you think about like something as simple as him going to school. He cannot eat that clean or
Yeah.
consistent because he does whole foods like vegetables and protein.
And I'll say this too is with that, I think for the first, it was like a pocket of days, like he actually got sick and he thought it was the school food because we're so used to eating clean. And this also comes in with him as well, that I think it hit him hard, just the quality of the food that was available.
So, you know, our main share with this one for this morning is, there are pros to this way of eating, but there's also cons. It becomes, you would think that it's super easy to eat, like, hey, just order a steak, or hey, just order a hamburger without a bun. The con is it's not that simple. And it's very hard to start to find things when you're traveling, when places like airports and hotels are all about like speed and systems. Like some places won't even let us modify the hamburger.
You just got to buy 2 or 3 of the same thing.
Yes. So this is the con to it. Last Saturday, we talked about all the pros. This is the con to it. It is hard to stay consistent when there's kind of interruptions in your life or changes in your schedule. Especially, like I said, Austin with school. All summer, he ate clean, whole food. While traveling, we could not find food, and Starbucks is like our hack, especially even if you're not carnivore and you need a protein, like pick me up. The egg bites from Starbucks are a great go-to and a solution for that high protein kind of boost.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's funny because I never in my life I've had a sensitive stomach, and now I have one.
And all my life, I've always had a sensitive stomach, and now I don't have one.
You're like, who would have thought? You're like, that's weird. But it's the lower quality additives and fillers that you become more sensitive to. So we've been on for 28 minutes. This one was more of the cons of, it's easy when you're home and you know what to expect and you know what restaurants to go to and you have your kitchen. But man, traveling is definitely a con when it comes to this way of eating. When you don't have control of your time, or when you're kind of giving in to the peer pressure of like, let's go to dinner, let's go have drinks.
Yep. So have your uptime, your absolutes, keep something in control. And I mean, that's what I'm taking away from this.
Absolutely. And I'm taking away, I need to stick to my rhythms and my rituals. Don't let nobody else control my time. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you.
All right.
We will see you next Saturday.